The night was dark and cold on the edge of the frontier planet known as Vera. Wind roared across the rocky plains, carrying fine dust that stung the skin and eyes. In the small human colony, most families had locked their doors and powered down their lights to save energy before the coming storm. The sky above was lit by flashes of pale lightning that split the clouds, followed by rolling thunder that echoed through the valleys. Aaron was only 10 years old, but he had already learned how to survive in the harsh environment of Vera. His parents were farmers who grew hardy root crops in sealed greenhouses. Life was simple but never easy. That night, Aaron could not sleep. The storm was too loud, and the howling wind made the walls of their small home tremble. He sat by the window, staring out into the dark world beyond. As he watched, a streak of light cut across the sky, burning bright for a brief moment before vanishing behind the hills. Aaron gasped, pressing his hands against the glass. He had seen meteor showers before, but this was different. It looked larger, closer, and much faster. Then, a deep rumble shook the ground, and a glow rose from behind the hills in the distance. Aaron's heart raced. Something had crashed. He ran to his parents' room, calling for them, but his father was already awake, pulling on his boots. "I saw it too," his father said in a steady voice. "Stay inside, Aaron. The storm is dangerous. I will check in the morning." Aaron wanted to argue, but his father's tone left no room for debate. His mother added, "Listen to your father. Do not leave the house tonight." Aaron nodded reluctantly, but curiosity burned in his chest. He lay in bed for what felt like hours, staring at the ceiling. The wind screamed outside, and the storm raged on. Finally, when he was sure his parents were asleep, he slipped out of bed, dressed in his thick jacket, and grabbed a small lantern and water flask. He knew it was reckless, but something inside him urged him to go. Something out there needed help. The journey through the storm was rough. Dust blew into his face, and the uneven ground made him stumble often. He held the lantern close, using its faint light to guide his steps. When he finally crested the hill, his breath caught in his throat. Below, in a shallow ravine, lay the broken remains of a strange craft. It was small, barely the size of a farm truck, with curved metal plates glowing faintly. Smoke rose from its torn hull, and sparks danced in the rain. Aaron slid down the slope carefully, his boots slipping on the wet stones. He approached the wreckage with caution. The air smelled sharp, like burned metal. The front of the craft was split open, revealing a dark interior. At first, he saw no movement. Then, a soft sound reached his ears. It was a whimper, faint and trembling. Aaron's eyes widened. Someone was alive inside. "Hello," he called, his voice shaking. "Is anyone there?" The sound came again, this time clearer. It was not a human voice. It had a strange rhythm and tone, like a melody mixed with words he did not understand. Aaron hesitated for only a moment before climbing into the wreck. Inside, the air was warm and smoky. He moved carefully, shining his lantern around until its beam fell upon a small figure huddled against the far wall. It was a child, but not a human child. The figure was covered in pale, smooth skin that shimmered slightly under the light. Its large eyes reflected the lantern glow, and its hair was fine and silver, falling around its face like strands of moonlight. The child's clothes were torn, and one leg was twisted at an awkward angle. When Aaron stepped closer, the creature flinched and made a soft, frightened sound. Aaron crouched down slowly, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said gently. I won't hurt you. The child stared at him with wide, terrified eyes. It spoke again, but the words were strange and musical. Aaron could not understand, but he could feel the fear behind them. He remembered how his mother calmed frightened animals on the farm. Keeping his movements slow and steady, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of dried fruit. He placed it on the floor between them and backed away slightly. The child hesitated, then reached out with trembling fingers to take the food. It sniffed it, then nibbled carefully. After eating, it looked at Aaron again, its expression softer now. Aaron smiled in relief. "See," he said. "I'm a friend." The child tried to stand but cried out in pain. Its injured leg could not support its weight. Aaron's chest tightened. He knew he could not leave it here. The storm would kill it before anyone else arrived, and he did not trust the colony patrol to show kindness to an alien. Aaron removed his jacket and wrapped it around the small figure to keep it warm. Then, he lifted the child into his arms. It was surprisingly light. The alien clung to him tightly, hiding its face against his chest. "Don't worry," Aaron whispered. "I'll get you to safety." The journey back was much harder with the extra weight. The wind pushed against him, and rain soaked his clothes. More than once, he slipped and nearly fell. Each time, he tightened his grip on the child and forced himself to keep going. Finally, he reached the edge of the colony. Lights glowed faintly in the distance. Aaron's heart pounded as he realized he could not take the child to his house. His parents would ask too many questions, and the patrol would be alerted. He decided to hide the child in an old storage shed near the greenhouse. It was small but dry, and no one used it anymore. Inside, he laid the child on a blanket and gave it some water from his flask. "You'll be safe here," he promised. The alien child looked at him with wide eyes, then reached out and touched his hand lightly. It spoke a single word, soft and clear. Aaron did not understand the meaning, but he felt the gratitude in the tone. He smiled and squeezed its hand gently. Over the next few days, Aaron cared for the alien in secret. He brought food and water, cleaned its wounds, and checked its leg. Slowly, the child began to trust him. It even laughed once when Aaron made a silly face. He decided to call it Luma, because its hair and eyes reminded him of moonlight. But trouble soon came. Patrol ships arrived in the sky, searching for survivors from the crash. Rumors spread through the colony that a dangerous alien craft had landed nearby. The patrol commander warned everyone to report any strange sightings. Aaron's stomach twisted with fear. If they found Luma, they would take her away, and she might never be safe again. One evening, as he was sneaking food to the shed, Aaron heard voices nearby. Two patrolmen were talking. "They say there was a child on that ship," one said. "If there's a survivor, we have orders to capture it," the other replied. "The higher UPS want to study it?" Aaron's hands clenched into fists. Study was just another word for hurt. He could not let that happen. The next day, patrols searched near the ravine. Aaron knew they were getting close. He decided to lead them away. When the soldiers neared the shed, he ran out into the open, shouting, "Over here! I saw tracks heading this way." The soldiers followed him, leaving the area behind the shed unguarded. Aaron ran as fast as he could, weaving through the rocks and hills. When he reached a narrow canyon, he scrambled up a hidden path only he knew. The soldiers lost sight of him and gave up the chase, returning to their search elsewhere. Aaron waited until they were gone before sneaking back to Luma. She was trembling when he entered, clutching his jacket. He knelt beside her and hugged her tightly. "It's okay," he said. "I won't let them take you." The following night, strange lights appeared in the sky. Luma's people had come for her. Aaron watched as a sleek alien ship descended silently near the ravine. Luma's eyes filled with tears as she looked at him. She spoke a stream of words, urgent and emotional. Though he could not understand, Aaron felt the meaning. It was goodbye. She pressed something into his hand, a small crystal that glowed softly. Then she wrapped her arms around his neck, hugging him tightly before limping toward the ship. Aaron's chest ached, but he forced himself to smile and wave. "Go home," he whispered. "Be safe." As the alien ship lifted into the night sky, Aaron stood alone, clutching the crystal. The storm had passed, leaving the world silent and still. He did not know if he would ever see Luma again, but he promised himself he would never forget her. Many years passed since the night Aaron saved the strange child from the storm. The frontier planet Vera grew slowly, turning from a lonely outpost into a small but busy colony. Aaron grew too, no longer a curious boy sneaking through the darkness, but a strong young man who worked hard and learned many skills. By the time he turned 24, Aaron had become one of the best explorers and pilots in the colony. He often traveled beyond the safe zones, mapping wild regions and scouting for resources. Some called him reckless, but others admired his courage. Deep inside, Aaron felt a constant pull toward the unknown. He wanted to see what lay beyond the hills, beyond the stars, beyond everything humans had yet to touch. Though many things had changed, one memory stayed with him, hidden in his heart. He still kept the small glowing crystal Luma had given him the night her people came for her. The crystal rested inside a small box beneath his bed. Sometimes, when he was alone, Aaron would take it out and hold it, watching the soft light pulse gently in the dark. The image of her silver hair and wide, shining eyes would return to him, but it felt almost like a dream now. Had it really happened, or had his young mind created it from a lonely night long ago? He could never be sure, but the crystal proved that something real had taken place. One morning, while Aaron was repairing his ship, a sharp chime sounded from the colony's communication tower. The message was urgent. He hurried to the central hall, where several leaders and pilots had already gathered. At the center of the room stood a tall man in a dark uniform. His name was Commander Hale, a representative from Earth's distant government. Commander Hale's voice was calm but firm as he addressed the group. "A major diplomatic mission is underway," he explained. "For decades, humans have slowly expanded into space, meeting different species along the way. Some have been friendly. Others have not. Recently, a new and powerful empire has risen among the alien civilizations. They control many star systems and hold great influence over their neighbors." The crowd murmured at this news. It was rare to hear about such things in a small frontier colony. Commander Hale continued, "This empire has agreed to a formal meeting with humans. We need skilled representatives to join the delegation. We also require a guide who knows the outer systems well and can handle unexpected dangers. Aaron, you have been chosen." Aaron blinked in surprise. "Me, sir, why me? Your record speaks for itself," Hale replied. "You are brave, experienced, and have traveled farther than anyone here. You also have no deep political ties, which makes you neutral. The Empire respects independence. You leave tomorrow." The announcement left Aaron stunned. He had dreamed of seeing the wider galaxy, but he had never expected to be called directly by Earth's government. His parents were proud, though worried. His mother hugged him tightly before he left, while his father simply shook his hand with quiet pride. The next day, Aaron boarded a sleek diplomatic ship. Along with him were several diplomats, translators, and a few soldiers for security. As the ship rose through the atmosphere, Aaron looked down at Vera one last time. The farms, hills, and rocky plains grew smaller and smaller until they vanished completely. Ahead lay the endless stars. The journey took several days. Aaron spent much of the time watching the stars rush past through the viewing window. He listened to the diplomats talk about the alien empire they were about to meet. They are unlike any species we have encountered before, one translator explained. Their culture is complex, and their technology is advanced. They united many tribes and clans under one ruler only a few years ago. Now they are a single, powerful force. Aaron found himself wondering about this mysterious ruler. Who could have enough strength and wisdom to unite so many different worlds? The more he heard, the more curious he became. Finally, their ship emerged from hyperspace near a massive alien planet. Aaron's breath caught as he saw the city spread across the surface like a web of glowing lights. Tall, curved towers reached toward the sky, surrounded by rings of floating platforms. Strange ships moved smoothly through the air, guided by streams of blue energy. "This is the capital of their empire," Commander Hale said, his tone respectful. "Behave carefully. A single mistake could damage relations between our species." As their ship descended, Aaron's eyes darted everywhere, taking in every detail. The landing platform was guarded by tall alien warriors in shining armor. Their appearance was striking, skin in shades of silver and pale blue, long limbs and elegant features. Their eyes glowed softly, and their movements were precise and graceful. When Aaron stepped off the ramp, he felt many eyes on him. Some looks were curious, others cold and distant. A group of alien officials approached. They spoke in a flowing language that sounded like music mixed with wind chimes. The translators quickly relayed their words. "Welcome, humans," the lead official said. "The Queen herself has requested your presence at the Grand Hall." The words sent a ripple of surprise through the human delegation. It was rare for a ruler to meet foreign visitors directly, especially during a first encounter. Commander Hale glanced at Aaron, then nodded. "We are honored." The group was led through the city. Aaron walked at the back, his eyes wide. The streets were filled with sights beyond anything he had imagined. Creatures of many shapes and sizes moved about, some flying, others gliding on smooth platforms. Markets overflowed with goods that shimmered, floated, or changed colors in ways his mind struggled to understand. Yet, despite the beauty, there was tension in the air. Aaron noticed clusters of heavily armed guards at every corner. Some citizens watched the humans with suspicion or even open hostility. As they neared the central palace, Aaron's unease grew. The structure was breathtaking, built from smooth white stone that glimmered under the alien sun. Tall spires twisted toward the sky, and glowing banners hung from their peaks. At the top of the grand staircase, massive doors opened silently, revealing a hall filled with hundreds of alien nobles. The delegation entered. The room fell silent. Then, a soft chime rang, and the crowd parted to create a clear path to the throne. Aaron's heart pounded. At the far end of the hall, a figure approached with slow, confident steps. She wore a flowing robe of silver and deep blue, decorated with patterns that seemed to shift like living water. A crown rested on her head, set with a single crystal that glowed softly. Her long silver hair caught the light, shining like threads of moonlight. When she came closer, Aaron froze in shock. Her face was older, wiser, and filled with strength, but he knew those eyes. They were the same eyes he had seen long ago in the shed on Vera. The queen stopped in front of him. For a brief moment, her calm expression cracked, and something warm flickered there. She looked directly at Aaron, then spoke in her flowing language. The translator's voice trembled slightly as it translated her words. "Welcome, humans. I am Queen Luma, ruler of this empire." Aaron's breath caught. Luma. The name echoed in his mind. The child he had saved all those years ago now stood before him as the leader of a mighty alien empire. Luma's gaze lingered on him, and in that moment, Aaron saw recognition. She knew who he was. But she said nothing more, turning instead to address the crowd and the diplomats. Her voice was smooth and commanding, filling the hall with authority. As she spoke, Aaron struggled to steady his thoughts. Memories flooded back, the storm, the wreckage, the soft words she had spoken before leaving. He reached into his pocket, feeling the small crystal he had carried for years. It pulsed faintly, as if responding to her presence. The ceremony continued, with formal exchanges and promises of peace. Yet Aaron could not focus. He noticed how some alien nobles looked at him with narrowed eyes. A few whispered among themselves, their faces sharp with disapproval. Something about this meeting was unusual, even dangerous. After the speeches ended, the delegation was led to a private chamber. To Aaron's surprise, Luma followed them, dismissing most of her attendants. Once the doors closed, she turned to face Aaron directly. "You remember me," she said, speaking slowly in perfect human language. Her voice was soft, almost hesitant. Aaron's mouth went dry. I do," he managed. You were the child I found. I thought maybe I had imagined it." Luma's lips curved in a small, warm smile. "You saved me," she said simply. "You gave me life when I had nothing. I have never forgotten." Aaron's chest tightened. You're a queen now," he said, still in disbelief. "How is that possible?" "It is a long story," Luma replied. "But know this, the kindness you showed me shaped the path I walk today. When I was lost and alone, you were my light. That is why I asked for you to be here." Aaron struggled to find words. "You asked for me, yes," she said. Her expression turned serious. "There are many who do not want peace between our people. Some see humans as a threat. If they knew about our connection, they would use it against us both." Aaron swallowed hard. "Then why risk telling me? Because I need someone I can trust," Luma said firmly. "And there is no one I trust more than the boy who saved me." The weight of her words settled heavily on Aaron's shoulders. He looked into her glowing eyes and realized that the small act of kindness he had given so many years ago had grown into something far greater than he could have imagined. But before he could respond, a loud crash echoed through the hall. Shouts rang out, followed by the sharp hum of alien weapons. Luma's guards burst into the room, their faces grim. "The rebels are moving," one guard shouted. "They know the humans are here." Luma's calm mask returned, but Aaron saw the flicker of worry in her eyes. The meeting was far from safe, and their reunion had only just begun. The sound of weapons charging filled the royal hall. Aaron froze, his pulse racing as alien guards surrounded Queen Luma. The diplomats from Earth huddled together, their faces pale with fear. Commander Hale drew a compact blaster from his belt, his sharp eyes scanning the exits. "Stay behind me," he ordered the humans. "We don't know who the enemy is yet." Luma raised her hand. Her voice was calm but firm, commanding the attention of everyone in the room. "Seal the inner doors," she said in her language. The guards obeyed instantly, closing the heavy barriers that protected the chamber. The clash of metal echoed through the walls as sounds of conflict came from outside. Aaron felt his throat tighten. The storm from his childhood had been frightening, but this was something much worse. These were soldiers and rebels, and the stakes were higher than anything he had ever faced. A guard hurried to Luma's side, bowing deeply. "My queen," he reported, "the rebels have infiltrated the palace. They move fast. Their target is either you or the humans." "Or both," Luma said quietly. Aaron stared at her, stunned by how calm she seemed. "You knew this could happen," he said, struggling to keep his voice steady. "You expected an attack." Luma met his gaze. "I feared it, yes. Many in my empire oppose peace with your people. They believe humans will bring destruction and chaos. They think I am weak for reaching out to you." Aaron clenched his fists. "That's not true. Humans are just trying to survive like everyone else." "Some of us understand that," Luma replied, "but others see only threat. They wish to strike first before your kind grows too strong." Commander Hale stepped forward. "Then we must leave," he said. "If we are their target, staying here puts everyone in danger. Escort us to our ship, and we will retreat." Luma shook her head. "Leaving now would make things worse. The rebels would claim victory, saying the humans fled because they were guilty of some hidden plan. My people would believe them, and the chance for peace would vanish." The diplomats exchanged worried looks. Aaron glanced at Luma, his heart pounding. He remembered the small child he had carried through the storm so long ago. Now she stood tall and unshaken, ready to defend not only herself but an entire empire. "What do you need from us?" Aaron asked. Luma's eyes softened as she looked at him. "I need you to trust me, as you did long ago. And I need you to listen carefully." She led them to a smaller room at the side of the hall. It was lit by glowing crystals embedded in the walls, casting soft blue light across the space. Once inside, she gestured for everyone to sit. Aaron stayed close to her, feeling the weight of her presence and the tension in the air. "When I left your world as a child," Luma began, "I returned to my people broken and afraid. My clan had been destroyed in the crash. I was the last of my bloodline. Many factions saw me as weak and useless, a burden to be discarded. But I carried with me something they could not see: your kindness." Her voice trembled slightly, but she continued with steady determination. "You risked everything to save me. You gave me food, shelter, and warmth when I was alone. That simple act taught me that compassion is stronger than fear. When I grew older, I used that lesson to unite my people. Instead of ruling with force alone, I built alliances through trust and fairness. In time, the clans followed me, and I became their queen." Aaron listened, his chest tight with emotion. He had never thought that his childhood actions could shape the fate of an entire empire. "You changed everything," he whispered. "No," Luma said, shaking her head. "We changed everything, together. I could not have become who I am without you." Commander Hale cleared his throat, his practical mind returning to the problem at hand. "This is inspiring," he said, "but the rebels are still out there." "Why now? Why attack during our visit? Because they fear peace," Luma answered. "They believe if humans and my people form an alliance, they will lose power. These warlords control many outer worlds. If they cannot rule through strength, they will fall." Aaron frowned. So they're trying to stop you by making humans look like enemies. Yes, Luma said. They will try to spread lies, to claim that humans came here to steal our technology or enslave our worlds. If they succeed, war will follow. A sudden explosion shook the chamber, cutting through her words. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the diplomats cried out in alarm. Luma's guards raised their weapons, shouting orders to each other. They are breaching the inner levels, one guard warned. Luma stood tall, her calm unbroken. Prepare a path to the royal sanctuary, she commanded. We must keep our guests safe. As the guards moved, Aaron stepped closer to her. What can I do? He asked urgently. Tell me how to help. Luma's gaze locked on his. You are human. They expect you to be afraid, to hide behind my soldiers. But you are brave. You know how to move quietly and survive in dangerous places. I need you to guide us through the service tunnels beneath the palace. Aaron hesitated. Service tunnels, yes, she said. Few know them as well as I do. They connect to hidden exits. If we reach them, we can escape before the rebels corner us. Commander Hale's eyes narrowed. You want to trust this man with the life of your queen and the entire human delegation. Luma's voice was firm. I trust him with my life. If not for him, I would not be here at all. Aaron felt heat rise to his face, but there was no time for pride or surprise. He nodded quickly. All right. Show me where to go. Luma led the group to a concealed door at the back of the room. It opened silently, revealing a narrow passage lit by faint blue lights. The air smelled of metal and damp stone. Aaron went first, followed by Luma and the diplomats. Guards brought up the rear, moving with practiced precision. The tunnel twisted and turned, sometimes so narrow they had to squeeze through sideways. At each junction, Luma gave quiet directions, her memory of the palace layout guiding them. Aaron moved quickly but carefully, his senses sharp. He listened for any sign of pursuit. At one point, faint voices echoed ahead. Aaron held up his hand, signaling everyone to stop. He crept forward and peered around a corner. Two rebels stood near a supply cache, their weapons ready. Their armor was dark and rough compared to the polished gear of the royal guards. Aaron slipped back silently. Two guards ahead, he whispered. We need a distraction. Luma glanced at her soldiers, then at Aaron. Can you draw them away without fighting? Aaron nodded. He picked up a loose piece of metal from the floor and threw it down a side passage. The clatter echoed loudly. The rebels reacted instantly, rushing toward the sound. While they were gone, the group slipped past unnoticed. The tension grew heavier with every step. Finally, they reached a circular chamber with a heavy hatch in the floor. Luma pressed her hand against a panel, and the hatch opened, revealing a vertical shaft with a ladder. This leads to the outer gardens, she explained. From there, we can reach a hidden landing pad. One by one, they climbed down. Aaron stayed near Luma, ready to catch her if she slipped, though she moved with surprising grace. When they reached the bottom, fresh air filled the space, carrying the scent of strange alien flowers. The gardens were eerily silent. Strange plants glowed softly in the moonlight, their petals opening and closing like breathing creatures. Aaron almost paused to stare, but Luma urged him forward. There is no time, she said. The rebels will be close. They hurried through winding paths until a low hum reached their ears. A sleek transport ship waited in a secluded clearing. Its design was similar to the one Aaron had seen years ago when Luma left Vera. As they approached, movement flashed in the shadows. Rebels emerged from hiding, surrounding the clearing. Their leader stepped forward, a tall figure with jagged armor and a cruel sneer. "Queen Luma," he called. "You have betrayed our people by bringing these humans here. Hand them over, and we may let you live." Luma's chin lifted proudly. "I will never betray peace," she said. "And I will never hand over the one who saved me." The rebel leader's eyes narrowed. "Saved you?" Aaron's breath caught. The truth hung in the air, dangerous and exposed. "Yes," Luma said boldly. "This human saved me as a child when none of my own kind would. His courage and kindness shaped the ruler I have become. He is proof that humans are not enemies." The rebels shouted in anger, their weapons raised. Aaron felt fear, but he also felt a fierce determination. He stepped forward, standing beside Luma. "If you want to hurt her," he said, "you'll have to go through me." The rebels hesitated. Some looked uncertain, while others growled in rage. The leader snarled and gave a sharp command. The rebels charged. Chaos erupted. Luma's guards fired precise blasts of energy, while Commander Hale and his soldiers added human firepower. Aaron grabbed a fallen staff weapon and fought fiercely, using his quick reflexes to block and strike. During the battle, Luma stayed close to him, her movements fluid and powerful. Together, they pushed toward the transport ship. At last, the rebel leader fell, defeated by Luma's skill and resolve. The remaining rebels fled into the night. Breathing heavily, Aaron helped Luma onto the transport. "We need to leave before they regroup," he said. As the ship lifted into the sky, Luma turned to him. Her eyes glowed with pride and gratitude. "Today, you saved me again," she said softly. "Not as a frightened child, but as a queen." Aaron stared at her, overwhelmed. "And you saved me," he replied. "And maybe you saved both our worlds." The transport ship cut through the night sky, leaving the palace far behind. The lights of the royal city faded into a distant glow. Inside the ship, silence filled the cabin as everyone caught their breath after the battle. Aaron sat near a small viewing window, his hands still trembling from the fight. The memory of the rebels charging at them replayed in his mind, along with Luma's voice as she declared him her savior. Commander Hale stood near the control panel, speaking with one of Luma's senior guards. His tone was sharp and urgent. "Tell me exactly how they got so close to the throne room," Hale demanded. "This attack was too well planned to be random." The guard's jaw tightened. "There is only one way they could have known the humans were here. Someone inside the palace gave them information." "A traitor?" Aaron turned his head sharply. "A traitor inside your own court?" The guard nodded grimly. "Yes. Someone who wants to see Queen Luma fall." Luma, seated near the front of the cabin, raised her hand to silence them. Her calm voice cut through the tension. "Arguing will not help us now. We must act. The rebels will not stop after one failure. This attack was only the beginning." Her words sent a chill down Aaron's spine. "How strong are they?" he asked. Luma met his gaze, her expression grave. "The rebellion is far more powerful than most believe. They control several outer worlds and many fleets. They have spies in my council and allies who hide behind false loyalty. If we do nothing, they will rise in full force, and war will follow." Commander Hale frowned deeply. "And they hate humans." "Yes," Luma confirmed. "They see your people as invaders. They believe you will destroy our culture and take our resources. Their leaders speak of humans as enemies to be crushed before peace can take root. Aaron clenched his fists. That's a lie. We came here to form an alliance, not to fight. Lies are powerful weapons, Loomis said softly. If they spread fear, the truth will not matter. The ship landed at a hidden outpost far from the city. The structure was small, built into the side of a rocky cliff, surrounded by dense alien trees that glowed faintly in the dark. Luma led the group inside, where her most trusted advisors waited. The outpost felt different from the Grand Palace. There were no banners or decorations here, only clean metal walls and simple rooms. It was a place built for strategy and survival, not ceremony. As they gathered around a round table, Luma's chief advisor, a tall alien named Varen, projected a holographic map into the air. Red lights pulsed across several locations, marking the rebel strongholds. These are the outer worlds under rebel control, Varen explained. Their numbers are growing quickly. If they unite fully, they will march on the capital. Once they take the royal city, the entire empire will fall. Commander Hale studied the map, his face hard. If that happens, every human colony in this sector will be in danger too. Varen nodded. The rebels already spread rumors that humans plan to enslave our people. Many believe them. If they seize power, they will attack Earth settlements next. Aaron stared at the red lights, feeling a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. So stopping them isn't just about saving your empire. It's about preventing a war between our species. Exactly, Luma said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes held deep sadness. I want peace, but peace cannot survive if hatred grows unchecked. Aaron took a deep breath. Then we need to hit them before they strike again. What's their next move? Varen zoomed in on a flashing red point near the edge of the map. We believe they will target the supply station on Vera Delta. That station holds critical fuel and weapons for the Royal Fleet. If they take it, they will control the surrounding star systems. Aaron's heart skipped a beat when he heard the name. Vera Delta. That's near my home world. Luma looked at him with sympathy. I am sorry, Aaron. If they attack there, your people may be caught in the middle. Commander Hale crossed his arms. Then we cannot wait. We must defend that station. Varen's expression was grim. The rebels outnumber us. Sending a fleet directly would risk everything. We need a plan that uses precision, not brute force. Aaron stepped forward, his mind racing. Let me go in first. I know how to move quietly and find hidden paths. I've been exploring dangerous places since I was a kid. If I can get inside their base, maybe I can find a way to disrupt their attack before it starts. Commander Hale's eyes narrowed. That's reckless. Luma, however, studied Aaron carefully. Sometimes reckless courage is exactly what we need. Your skills saved us in the tunnels today. They may save many more lives tomorrow. Aaron met her gaze and nodded. I'll do whatever it takes. The plan was set. Aaron would infiltrate the rebel camp on Vera Delta with a small team of Luma's trusted scouts. If he could sabotage their supply lines or gather intelligence, the Royal Fleet would gain the upper hand. As they prepared to leave, Luma pulled Aaron aside. Aaron, she said softly, there is something you must know before you go. The rebellion is led by someone I once called an ally. His name is Korod. He was a great warrior, respected by many. When I became queen, he swore loyalty to me, but his heart was filled with ambition. He believes only strength matters, and he sees peace as weakness. Aaron frowned. And now he's leading the rebels. Yes, Luma confirmed. He is dangerous, cunning, and ruthless. If you face him, do not underestimate him. Aaron placed a hand over the small crystal he kept in his pocket. I won't. I promise. That night, Aaron and his team set out in a stealth ship. The journey to Vera Delta was tense and silent. As the ship approached the planet, Aaron stared out at the swirling clouds and the glowing lights of the station below. It was larger than he expected, a sprawling network of docks, warehouses, and defense towers. The scouts landed the ship in a hidden canyon far from the main settlement. From there, they moved on foot, using the shadows for cover. Aaron's heart pounded with every step. The air smelled faintly of fuel and metal. Strange alien birds called from the darkness, their cries sharp and eerie. When they reached a ridge overlooking the rebel camp, Aaron crouched low and studied the scene. There were dozens of ships parked in neat rows, guarded by heavily armed soldiers. Fires burned in large pits, casting flickering light across the rough tents and equipment. They're preparing for something big, one scout whispered. Aaron nodded grimly. We need to get inside and find their command center. Moving with careful precision, they slipped past the outer guards and into the maze of tents. Aaron led the way, his keen eyes spotting hidden patrols before they came too close. Every sound felt loud in his ears, the crunch of dirt under his boots, the soft rustle of canvas, the hum of alien machinery. Finally, they reached a large tent near the center of the camp. Strange symbols were painted on its sides, marking it as a place of importance. Aaron motioned for the others to wait outside while he crept closer. Inside, he found a map spread across a table. Red markers showed the rebels' next targets, including the supply station and several nearby colonies. At the center of the map stood a tall, imposing figure in jagged black armor. His face was hidden behind a mask, but his voice was deep and cold. Vera Delta will fall within 2 days, the figure declared. Once we control the station, the humans will be trapped. The Queen will be forced to surrender. Aaron's blood ran cold. This had to be Korad. One of the rebels asked nervously, and if the humans fight back then we destroy them, Korad said without hesitation. No mercy. No survivors. Aaron's stomach twisted. He backed away silently, careful not to make a sound. But as he turned to leave, his foot brushed against a loose metal plate. The sharp clang echoed through the tent. Korada's head snapped around. Who's there? Aaron bolted, sprinting into the darkness as shouts rang out behind him. The camp exploded into chaos. Rebels grabbed weapons and chased after him. Aaron zigzagged between tents, using every ounce of speed and agility he had. His heart thundered in his chest. The scouts opened fire to cover his escape. Energy blasts lit up the night as the team fought their way out. Aaron dove behind a rock, gasping for breath. They know we're here now, he said. We need to get back to Luma. The team retreated to their hidden ship and blasted off just as rebel fighters scrambled to pursue them. The chase through the planet's atmosphere was wild and dangerous, but Aaron's pilot managed to lose their pursuers by diving into a dense storm cloud. When they finally reached the safety of space, Aaron collapsed into his seat, exhausted. His mind replayed the words he had heard. Korada's plan was worse than he had imagined. Back at the outpost, Luma met them in the command chamber. Her face tightened when she saw Aaron's expression. You saw him, didn't you? She asked quietly. Aaron nodded. Korad is planning to strike within 2 days. He wants to destroy not just your station, but every human settlement in the area. Gasps filled the room. Varen's voice was sharp with fear. If he succeeds, there will be no stopping him. Luma's hands clenched into fists. Then we cannot wait any longer. We must strike first. Commander Hale frowned. Do you have enough forces to win? No, Luma admitted. But we have something they do not. We have courage, and we have allies who believe in peace. Aaron stepped forward, his voice steady. We also have a plan. Korad thinks strength is all that matters. Let's prove him wrong. We'll use his own arrogance against him. Luma's eyes met his, and for a moment, the room was silent. Then she nodded slowly. Very well, she said. We fight not just for survival, but for the future of both our peoples. The outpost was alive with activity as dawn approached. Soldiers rushed to their stations, engineers prepared ships, and scouts delivered last-minute reports. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mix of fear and determination. The final battle was about to begin. Aaron stood near a large viewing window, watching the fleet gather in the sky above the hidden base. Sleek royal ships glimmered under the rising light, their wings spread like birds ready to strike. Even with all these forces, they were still outnumbered by Korada's rebellion. Commander Hale approached from behind, his boots echoing against the metal floor. You look ready, Aaron, he said in a firm tone. Aaron turned, his face calm but his heart heavy. Ready as I'll ever be. I keep thinking about what's at stake. If we fail today, thousands of lives will be lost. Maybe more. Hale placed a hand on his shoulder. That's why we cannot fail. You've done well to get us here. Now we just need to see it through. Aaron nodded. Where's Luma? Before Hale could answer, the doors slid open and Luma entered the room. She was dressed in ceremonial armor that gleamed silver and blue, her royal crown set firmly on her head. She carried herself with dignity, but Aaron could see the weight of leadership in her eyes. The fleet is ready, Luma announced. We strike now, before Korad has time to gather more forces. Varen, her chief advisor, stepped forward and activated a holographic display of the battle plan. Our scouts confirmed the rebels are gathered at Vera Delta, Varen explained. Their main fleet is positioned around the supply station. If they hold it, they will control the surrounding star systems. The hologram shifted to show several key points around the station. Here is how we will attack, Varen continued. The Queen's fleet will engage the enemy head-on to draw their attention. Meanwhile, Aaron and a small strike team will infiltrate the station itself. Their mission is to disable the defense grid, which will allow our forces to land troops directly inside. Aaron studied the map carefully. And Korad Varen hesitated. We believe he will command the battle personally. If we take him down, the rebellion will collapse. Luma looked directly at Aaron. This task will be dangerous. Korad is powerful, and his followers are loyal. But if anyone can reach him, it is you. Aaron felt a surge of determination. He placed his hand over the crystal in his pocket, the same crystal Luma had given him as a child. I won't let him win, he said. Luma's lips curved into a faint, sad smile. I know you won't. The battle begins. The fleet launched from the outpost in perfect formation. Dozens of royal ships soared into space, engines glowing bright against the black void. Aaron rode aboard a small strike ship with Commander Hale and a team of elite warriors. Their vessel was fast and lightly armed, built for stealth rather than combat. As they neared Vera Delta, the scale of the enemy fleet came into view. Hundreds of rebel ships surrounded the supply station like a swarm of predators. Massive battleships formed a ring of firepower, while smaller fighters darted between them like angry insects. Hale whistled softly. That's a lot of firepower. Aaron's jaw tightened. We can't back down now. On the main comm screen, Luma's image appeared. She sat in the command chair of her flagship, her expression calm and regal despite the danger. All forces, engage, she ordered. The Royal Fleet surged forward, unleashing a storm of energy blasts. The Rebel fleet responded instantly, and the darkness of space lit up with flashing lights and exploding ships. The battle had begun. Hale piloted their strike ship through the chaos, weaving between enemy fighters and debris. "Hang on," he shouted as the ship jerked to the side, narrowly avoiding a blast. Aaron gripped the edge of his seat. "Just get us close to the station." "I'm trying," Hale growled. Behind them, the Royal Fleet fought bravely but was slowly pushed back by the sheer numbers of the rebels. Luma's flagship fired volley after volley, taking down enemy ships, but more kept arriving. Aaron knew they couldn't win through sheer force. Their only hope was to complete the mission. Infiltration. The strike ship slipped past the outer defenses and landed in a hidden docking bay on the station's lower levels. Aaron and the strike team jumped out, weapons ready. The air inside was thick with the smell of fuel and metal, and the distant hum of machinery echoed through the halls. "Move fast," Aaron whispered. "We need to find the control center before they realize we're here." The team advanced through narrow corridors, staying low and silent. Twice they had to hide as patrols passed by, their alien armor clinking softly in the dark. Finally, they reached a large chamber filled with glowing consoles and power cores. "This must be it," Hale said. "The defense grid controls should be on that panel." As one of the engineers hurried to disable the system, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed, and a mechanical voice shouted warnings in an alien language. "They know we're here," Aaron said grimly. "Get it done fast." Rebel soldiers stormed into the room, weapons blazing. The strike team scattered, returning fire. Aaron ducked behind a console, blasting at enemies as they poured through the doors. "Almost there," the engineer shouted over the noise. "Just a few more seconds." Hale hurled a grenade, sealing off one entrance in a burst of smoke and flame. "Make it quick," he yelled. At last, the engineer slammed a final switch. The entire station trembled as the defense grid powered down. Outside, the Royal Fleet now had a clear path to land troops. "It's done," the engineer said, panting. Aaron wasted no time. "Good. Now we find Korad." The duel guided by intercepted communications, Aaron led the team deeper into the station. Eventually, they reached the central command hall, a massive room lined with banners of the rebellion. At the far end stood Korad. He was taller than Aaron had imagined, his black armor gleaming under the harsh lights. His mask hid his face, but his presence radiated power and anger. "So," Korad said, his voice deep and cold. "The human comes to face me." Aaron stepped forward, weapon ready. "This ends today, Korad. You won't hurt any more people." Korad laughed, a chilling sound. "Your queen is weak. She clings to ideals that have no place in this galaxy. Peace is an illusion. Only strength matters." "Strength without compassion is destruction," Aaron shot back. "You don't want to lead. You just want to rule through fear." Korad raised his weapon, a massive blade that glowed with red energy. "Then let us see whose vision will survive." The battle began. Aaron dodged the first swing, which sliced through a metal pillar like paper. He fired his blaster, but Korad's armor deflected the shots. The duel raged across the hall, sparks flying as blade and blaster clashed. Hale and the others tried to intervene, but Corridus' soldiers held them back. Aaron was on his own. Summoning every ounce of strength, Aaron remembered the lessons he had learned exploring dangerous worlds as a child. He used speed and agility instead of brute force, darting around Corrid and striking where the armor was weakest. Finally, Aaron spotted a small opening near Corridus' chest plate. With a burst of energy, he lunged forward, driving his blade into the gap. Corrid staggered, roaring in rage. "No," he snarled. "This cannot be." Aaron pulled the weapon free and shouted, "This is for peace." Corrid collapsed, his blade clattering to the ground. His soldiers froze, stunned by the sight of their leader defeated. Aaron stood tall, breathing hard. "Your rebellion is over. Lay down your weapons." Slowly, one by one, the rebels obeyed. The fight was finished. Victory and farewell. Outside the station, the royal fleet swept in to secure the area. Luma herself arrived soon after, stepping into the command hall with her guards. When she saw Aaron standing victorious, a look of relief washed over her face. She crossed the room and placed her hands on his shoulders. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved us all." Aaron smiled tiredly. "We did it, Luma. Together." Varen entered behind her, his voice full of pride. "With Corrid gone, the remaining rebels will scatter. The war is over." Cheers echoed through the halls as the news spread. Soldiers embraced, and relief replaced the tension of battle. Later, in the royal city, a grand ceremony was held. Citizens gathered in the main plaza to witness the celebration of peace. Luma stood on the balcony of the palace, addressing her people. "Today," she declared, "we begin a new chapter. The darkness of war has ended, and a light of hope rises. Humans are not our enemies. They are our allies, our friends, and our partners in building a better future." The crowd roared with approval. Luma then turned to Aaron. "For his bravery and compassion, I name Aaron the first human ambassador to our empire." Aaron stepped forward, humbled by the honor. He glanced at the sea of alien faces below, seeing not fear or anger but respect and gratitude. When the ceremony ended, Aaron and Luma stood alone on the balcony. The city lights stretched out before them, shining brightly under the night sky. "Do you remember the day we met?" Luma asked softly. Aaron nodded, smiling. "I remember finding you in the wreckage, so small and scared. I never imagined we'd end up here." Luma touched the crystal on her crown, the same one Aaron had given her as a child. "You gave me hope when I had none," she said. "I promised that one day, I would repay that kindness. Today, that promise is fulfilled." Aaron placed his hand over the matching crystal he still carried. "And I promised I'd protect you, no matter what. I'll keep that promise for the rest of my life." They stood together in silence, watching the stars above. Two worlds had been saved, and a future built on peace had begun.